I used to be pretty woke. I had the TDS, the Trump derangement syndrome. I thought everybody who voted for Donald Trump was a racist. All that changed when I encountered a Yale study in 2018. The study found that there was a difference between how white liberals and white conservatives talk when they talk to black people. And when I saw the headline, I was jubilant. We got 'em. That's what I thought. Turns out the opposite was true. The study found that when white liberals talk to black people, they do something called presenting lower competence. They dumb down their vocabulary using fewer syllables than they do when they talk to white people. And white conservatives don't do this. I remember seeing the study and thinking with horror, and we liberals call conservatives racist? What could be more racist than the patronizing view that black people need to be protected from our big vocabularies? Yet it was this patronizing view that minorities are oppressed and in need of saving that I could suddenly see was at play in much of the progressive worldview. It caused me to think, well, if I'm wrong about conservatives being racist, what else might I be wrong about?
Let me just stop it right there, and I want to have a conversation with you guys, all right? One thing that you know that I absolutely despise, if you've been following me for any extended period of time, whether it be this channel, the Millionaire Morning Show, Room 9, so on and so forth, is I absolutely despise white apologists. I do. And for several different reasons. Number one, they treat you even when you're doing better than them. And often at times this is displayed when they're not aware of who you are or what your accomplishments are. And this is for people that are uber successful, right? Somehow they convince themselves that you're still oppressed despite the fact that they don't know anything about you. They don't know if you're conservative or liberal. They don't know who you voted for. They don't know what your path is. And they certainly don't know your net worth. But they treat you, even if they're poorer than you, as though you need them to advocate for you because they have some sort of privilege that you don't have. And that is one of the biggest things that disgusts me. A white apologist is more dangerous to the black community and to Democrats because Democrats were not always this liberal. If you go back into the 90s, the early 90s, the mid to early 90s, they spoke similarly to how conservatives speak today. And if you go back and you realize they are more harmful than they do any good. And as a matter of fact, I'm not sure that they do any good. And so when I see people that are liberal on the left speaking to black people as though they have to dumb themselves down, then that tells me that they're an apologist, that they are apologizing for the statement or the conversations or what is being perpetuated or even their lot in life. They are apologizing because they look at you as less than. And if that's not a form of racism or bias or prejudice, I don't know what is. And so for some reason, they feel as though they have to make up for their ancestors. And then they have to speak to you as though you don't fully understand what they're talking about. Or let me give you number two. They start to code switch, which black people do it too. And that's the most ignorant thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. They start to code switch. They start to speak as though they have to meet you at your level because you can't quite possibly put together a 3-syllable word to match a full sentence that also has a period, a comma, a question mark, or an exclamation mark, right? They think that your degree is in liberal arts or African American studies or ballet, right? Or underwater basket weaving. We might as well throw that one in. Y'all know that's one of my favorites. They think that you are less than and that you need their help in order to get yourself through in life or to meet the expectation. We automatically assume that the majority of the people that are on food stamps are black people, but no, it's not. It's white people. And then it's so funny because she had this conversation and she spoke about the fact that just by default, subconsciously, without even trying, they dumb themselves down when they speak to black people. They don't do it to any other demographic, but black people, they dumb themselves down and they use less syllables to try to communicate more effectively with black people when they tend to be Democrat. And so they then follow all of these pathways and saying Trump is fascism, and they use all of the talking points from the Democrat plantation to keep you on the plantation instead of allowing for you to break free, do your research, and realize that the Black Conservative Party has always been the best thing for black people because it gives you the freedom to do what you need to do and loosens the restrictions of you depending on the federal government or the local government for you to survive, because you are greater than your circumstance, you are greater than your environment, you're greater than the stereotype that has been perpetuated in the narrative that has been created to keep you down. And so when I hear this woman speak, it just blows my mind that other people have not latched onto this and had a greater conversation, because if you can't tell, they can tell when you code switch to then try to sound more like them instead of just being able to speak proper English. I'll do you one better. It's funny when I hear black people say that somebody that knows how to speak proper English that is black is trying to be white instead of saying that they're communicating effectively. Maybe that was a little bit too much. Maybe I need to dumb myself down. It disgusts me when you are able to speak complete sentences and they tell you, black people in particular, that you're trying to be white because you know how to speak properly. And then you code switch and assume that they can't tell that you're code switching because how you really talk is ghetto. Now you're seeing that they are code switching because for whatever reason, they don't feel as though you'll be able to understand them as a liberal. You guys vote the same way, but as a liberal, they have to do you a favor so that you can communicate more effectively. And this whole Trump derangement syndrome thing is crazy because I would venture to say that people that vote Democrat, specifically the black population, and we all know the stats, 92%, 78%, combined 80-something% of people that voted in this last election that were black voted for Kamala Harris, still supports Barack Obama. We know about what's happening in New York with Zohran Mamdani largely getting elected on the backs of young white liberal women who also happens to be white apologists. We know this. We know the stats. We know the information, yet we continue to do nothing about it. And we don't even live by the principles that Democrats champion, and that they don't want just one version of people communicating, and that they are intolerant of people that may look like them but think differently than them or support a different party. They don't want to work with you. If you're not a part of the boule, then they don't want to work with you. Even though the majority of people that are rich that I know actually are Democrats. So it is a relief for me to hear people starting to admit the truth. And let's be clear, I do not believe nor do I feel as though I have to align myself with people that are blatantly racist, whether you're white or you're black. I just don't really entertain it anymore because I don't have time and I have bigger fish to fry, and I'm doing some great things in my community and I'm looking forward to the growth. So I don't feel as though anybody should be censored, but at the same time, I don't feel as though I have to platform people that I don't care for. And that may be for other reasons. That don't have anything to do with your political affiliation. That has everything to do with your character and your morals. And when you are extreme in your views, whether you're an extreme right or an extreme left, I tend to try to stay away from that because extreme get kicked off the platform, right? But the point that I'm making is that to hear this woman communicate this so effectively that, she used to be that person that she hates now, you should ask yourself this question. Why do you very rarely, if ever, hear people say I'm switching from being conservative over to being liberal, but in vast quantities and amounts you see people switching over from being liberal to being conservative or Democrat to Republican? Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tab into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.